Hello, and welcome into first round coverage of the Daniel Boe Memorial on Disconnected. I'm Ethan Wellin, and I'm joined by Chris Brophy.
Hello.
Chris, we've got a great feature card today to start things off early in the morning, round one at Kit Carson Park.
Probably chilly for these guys, bright and early. Chris Pinegar leading things off, winner of last year's event.
And second up is Clint Calvin, great San Diego local, six-time champion at Morley Field, and an A-tier winner, certainly one of the favorites of this event.
Rico, coming from Disc Golf Royalty out of Sylmar, California.
We watched Cam take down an A-tier a couple weeks ago at the Wintertime Open, so check that out on Disconnected's channel. And here we've got John Ryan III, our fourth player on the card. John was the champion of the AM weekend, last weekend at Daniel Boe, so he's got some competitive reps on this course, and see if he can kind of channel the good vibes from last week with this card of great pros.
Yeah, Junior.
Pinegar gets it up back on track.
Wow, a great drive from Cam.
Ooh, just slipped past the Mandy. Scary hole.
Yeah, hole 2 is a short par 4, is that right, Chris?
Yeah, it looked reachable for some of these guys, but it's pretty skinny. There's OB left, OB right. You don't want to hit that snake. So, see a lot of people laying up.
Looks like maybe even just mid for some of these guys, for Pinegar and for Cam.
John going a little harder. There's another Mandy right there. Ooh. Probably going to be close. This pin is really tucked up OB long and OB right. I'm sorry, OB left. So, sketchy up shots.
And it seems like Pinegar's just playing that wide skip to kind of take the possibility of OB out of play on the second shot, except the circle's edge putt. Not so circle's edge after all. So this putt is a birdie start for Cam, already 2 under, which I think is exactly what you would dream of. Draw up. And the tap-ins for John and Chris mean that everybody's got at least one out of the first 2.
Yeah. Oh, a tricky little island hole. There's a bunch of things to hit along the way. OB left. Looks like it's heading OB. Gettable if you can thread it.
Oh,
Look good.
So this is a par putt. One of the harder holes by scoring average in round 1. I think, the distance, hole 3, 345, not an intimidating number for these guys, but I think maybe with the OB and the, the multitude of thin routes, but not one particularly large route, a lot of guys just getting caught up short and not having a C1 opportunity.
It's another hole that's very close to out of bounds, all along that right side. Righties had to pretty much take the disc at the OB and ride along the side of it to get any kind of putt.
We didn't see the result for Cam, but we saw the face. I think a little bit short and left there. Here's that unique play style from John Ryan III that we were talking about, Chris. The lefty backhand and the righty forehand. So two different spin options going the same way. I would love to get inside his head and just learn about kind of like what drives the decision making. I think he probably throws the backhand a little further, but you know, what drives the choice between those two shots on a given hole.
Scary putt. These flags are probably 2 meters behind the basket, maybe 3.
Yeah. There should be.
Good putt.
Up and down starts for Clint and for John. Both of them already have bogeys on the card. It's been a little steadier for the defending champ. Chris has got 2 birdies out of the first 4. And Cam, likewise, 2 birdies out of the first 4. The pace to win this tournament the last couple years has been 22, 23, 24 under par. So something in the zone of an 8, 9, 10 under would probably be kind of the recipe to win the event.
It's a lot of mixes on this hole, both types of spin, forehand, backhand.
And I think one of the easier by scoring average, if I recall correctly. Definitely a hole where players of this caliber are going to expect to have the birdie opportunity.
Yeah, not much in the way. Just have to throw it right.
Yeah. Yeah.
There we go, John. Now the putter's heating up a little bit.
Clint gets some nice spin on his. Good putt.
Just hangs on. Chris, did you get a chance to catch the coverage of the Doghouse Open?
I did not see all of Doghouse Open.
Yeah,
Okay, well,
there
it's
you go.
also here on the Disconnected channel. Clint Calvin throws a couple of really spectacular rounds of golf, and including, I don't want to spoil anything, but including, I think, one of the shots of the year in terms of caught on coverage throw-ins. So definitely go check that out if you haven't had the chance.
I was lucky enough to see that throw-in happen live.
Oh, he doesn't need the coverage.
I was there
folks.
playing. I was there playing. Yeah, he's amazing. This is a really fun hole. Long hole, there's some low ceiling stuff with an island green. Good par 4.
Is this a roller play?
Yeah, but if you go right, you can get away with a cut roller, but if you peel out right, you're going out of bounds, and it pinches towards the end. So if you go get any distance and you go right, you're going out of bounds. I like the roller here when the gully is not playing out of bounds. When it's OB, then it's tricky.
Yep.
And it looks like these guys are just thrown into a bowl where they kind of have an opportunity to be kind of aggressive. You don't have to be too cute with the speed because you have that little upslope behind.
Yeah, you could force it into the back or the side of that bowl and have a circle wedge putt.
And as Pinegar cleans up, we're looking at 2 straight star frames here, I think.
These guys had a really early start. It's probably a little chilly. Starting to warm up.
Tell me about the 7th, Chris.
Interesting hole. It was a pretty wide open forehand for righties. There's definitely a backhand line as well, but it gives you a couple things to avoid. It slopes away once you get over that ridge, so getting it to stop at the right time can be a little bit of tricky skill involved in that. Needs some touch. Oh, get a safe try.
Clint to save the card. Ouch. And after 2 straight star frames, you got to think that all pars on the 7th is not a satisfying result for these guys.
Definitely a gettable hole at under 300 feet with very little in the way. This next hole's unique. A little cutout in the fence. The grass was kind of thick, so if you played it wide, there wasn't really much of a skip. You'd hit that and we got away with it. It's going to have a nice putt. Kind of want to take it low, because if you go over that fence at all, you're out of bounds, minus that small cutout section where the basket's located. Yeah, that skip got kind of gobbled up, but he'll have a putt. Slightly downhill.
No, she's so straight. She's so pretty.
You can hear Clint. Just can't believe how straight that Toro flew down the hill.
It's a pretty nice rip with the Toro.
Oh, yes. Look at that.
Nice putt, Clint.
There you go.
Defending champ makes that one look easy. Double Mandy. OB left, right, and behind it.
Kind of a unique green down there in the rocks.
Go slightly left, slightly right, and you don't really have a putt. Those boulders are pretty big. And it slopes away behind it. A little tricky for a short hole. Fun hole. Swing left.
Looks like Cam got all the way past that boulder and has to put on the backside. Pinegar closes out a 6 under front 9. That's pretty scorching. And after a bit of a slow start, Clint's kind of found it as well. 4 under through 9.
Honestly,
Some people know Clint from some tour time.
So along with Pinegar, it's Gavin Boss sharing the early lead. And this is another gettable par 4. Keep piling on.
Double Mandy. Kind of tight, and there's OB all on that left side. That looks OB.
Chris, I love that this tournament uses poles for mandatories instead of designating the trees. I feel like it just makes it really clear where the mandatory line is. There's no debate about like, oh, I went around this branch but through that branch. It's easy to officiate, and I know it's a little bit of extra work for the tournament volunteers, so I just want to shout that out. The nice little feature.
Yeah, these guys run a tight ship down here at this tournament. Always very well run. Long running 8 here in SoCal. Shout out to the Mark, the TD, and his crew for doing an excellent job.
Cam watches that disc wobble and sit a few feet from the OB line. And Pinegar from the same spot says, I'll participate in your jump putt distance contest.
Sit down.
Oh no, and it just trickles out again. I think this hole baits you to be a little bit greedy on those upshots. I mean, this spot where John is, you know, is going to be a made putt in the open division most of the time, and if you put the disc down in the grass over there, it's just going to settle. As soon as you get on that little piece of hard pan right at the pin, things get sketchy like they did for Pinegar.
Yeah, and the water's so close, you don't want to leave it too far outside. Touchy hole. Low ceiling forehand for most of the righties. Grass was a little deep. Do you get the skip? He got it.
Honestly, I've been working on it a lot lately.
There's a cutout in that fence, so if you go skip ace run, you can actually get out of bounds. And those rocks were just in the way. Looks like he sneaked.
There you go. There you go.
Oh, yeah. Nice run. Put that disc in my bag before this hole.
From the perspective of the tee, I'm sure both Clint's shot and Cam's shot looked like they were chain hunting.
Probably wants this to sit. Ooh, caught the fence.
There is that gap you were talking about.
Yeah, you can get there.
Yeah, Cam.
Wow, so Cam now up to -7 through 11 holes. That is a great pace.
Pinegar jams it in. For those not familiar with Chris Pinegar Jr., he's been running La Mirada for a while now. He's a really good player, can throw a mile. Talented guy.
Did you see, Chris, that 1 week ago, Pinegar shot a -18, a La Mirada Lakeside course in their league, sanctioned league. The rating, which I have here somewhere, 1109,
Ugh,
the highest rated round in the history of Southern California.
my goodness. Doesn't surprise me. Somebody could do it, he could do it. It was amazing. Been amazing.
And I've got a little chunk of trivia for you. Who had the previous record?
Highest rated round in SoCal.
He's a fixture of the SoCal scene. This was back in 2009.
Bobby Music.
Oh, it was Steve Rico,
My other guess.
but Bobby beat him in the tournament.
Yeah, those two.
Great guess and a great battle. Wish I could go back and watch that one on Disconnected.
This was an interesting hole. There wasn't that much in the way, but watched it give some people some trouble. Kind of turned right. Some of these guys found a hyzer line, I think, later in the week, but most people were throwing turnovers at it, and a little far for some people's sidearms, so interesting shape. Neat hole. Cleaned this hole out a little bit. Used to have a lot of stuff around it on that left side. A little more open now. I'm sure most of these guys are taking a putt or a mid right at it. It's on an elevated perch. Can't quite see the basket from this angle.
If you're throwing this backhand, are you looking for just kind of a subtle stand up and finish straight? Or can you hyzer it all the way in there?
I think the shape asks for, plays best for like a stand-up, like you said. Putting some hyzer on something that's sort of flippy and letting it flatten up. It takes some touch, because then you can go screaming past the target and have a sketchy putt coming back at it. Clint, the local, probably knows the way just to play it into that wall and putt up at it instead of, Chris now has a more dangerous putt if he misses. But this is the guy that just shot 18 under. So.
Nothing's dangerous if you make them all.
There's
a great putt.
Great
Nice
putt.
knee
From the
putt.
knee.
Got it high enough.
So Cam's looking to close out another star frame for our feature card.
Yeah, Cam.
And he sure does.
Oh, it slipped again. The ties are safe.
12th. This is another unique green. It's just the one where the basket is inside the picnic shelter.
Yeah, inside a gazebo. It's got cement all around it, which made it a very fast green. If you happen to catch that wrong. Not out of reach for these guys. Just shy of 400. Gets a nice kick. Pretty thick on the right there if you kind of go long. Yeah, you might have a jungle putt.
Yes.
It's so pure.
Great putt.
Feeling it. Yeah, you can see if you miss and hit that cement, you're gonna go skidding to circle's edge.
Can't manage to not penetrate into those bushes, and he makes a putt. Great putt.
Good birdie. Double hole. This is original 1 to 2. Makes a big U-turn.
Oh, it slipped again.
Don't want to be in those saw bushes. Those will cut you up pretty good. He's probably fairly close to OB.
Set.
Cam's playing that a little
He's
safer.
pissed off, and then the doctor calls and says, "Okay, I'm ready to talk."
If you can get out near that bench where the spotter was, you can get a decent look at the next shot. If not, you're just hoping for the 4. It's interesting, there's a very low ceiling off the tee, so you didn't really have room to go high enough to get it to turn very far right. So a lot of people end up pushing it straight, and it just makes the next shot much farther. You're throwing basically back in the same direction as the tee pad through that double bandy.
Do you think that makes the drive favor the sidearm more because it's harder to throw that Anheuser without space to get the nose down?
Yes, exactly. I think especially if you have a big forehand, that's going to be the advantage there. If not, it's pretty tricky. Goodbye there.
Wow, the suspense.
Did he get away with it?
Looks like C1.
Come in tight. There's a Mandy right there. Ooh, Mandy. Oh. Might have spoke too soon.
For Chris, a 4 is probably a pretty acceptable result from inside that big sawgrass bush. Great birdie for John.
I think 3 sort of feels like an eagle on this hole. It's a pretty tough hole. I think the scoring may have showed that as well. This whole section, I felt could have been, one par different on each of them. Very few birdies on this 3-hole loop. 15, 16, 17.
Yeah, the stretch of 15 through 17 by scoring average were all kind of some of the hardest holes on the layout. So these guys are at scores right now that really would be great finishing scores. And if they can just get in the house with pars, maybe birdie 18, these are really good rounds.
They have this at 486, slightly uphill as a par 3. So pretty good poke for a lot of people.
Get down. Sit.
That's fun to watch these guys go full tilt, though.
You know, that right side where Cam is going is not a bad play, because at least from there you can see the target. You get over to the left, and it's hard to see the target on your upshot, and it's a little bit of a tricky upshot because of those logs, trunks that they have around it. Make nice little sand traps. It's probably a little nervous on that putt because there's Obi right there. You don't want to go long.
No birdies for the open field in round 1. So then as we turn to 17, another kind of like serious mush, 471 par 3.
Can't see the target, and you have to turn it right, and you have to take it at OB.
But if you can get a little lucky with that hard pan, which obviously John doesn't, there is, it seems like, a forward skip available down there. Look at Clint
that's a nice ride.
shape this disc.
Wow. Oh, I got into circle 1. My goodness. Nice pull. That's 470 feet of power. Don't turn too much.
And Cam just throwing rival. I mean, he's got a lot of power, but I do wonder if that is a little bit of a choice to make this an easy 3 or a jump putt for 2, as opposed to taking something really fast and ripping it in there with the chance of going out of bounds.
Yeah, it looked like Pinegar must have been really close to the out of bounds. You know, it's a peninsula, basically. It'll be on all sides. Great.
Wow, so look how tight this scoring cluster is on our feature card. -7, -7, -8, -8.
Going into the reachable hole 18, little island green.
Been awesome to finally play with you, John. I feel like I've been following for so long and never gotten to play.
Amazing.
At 296, it's probably just mid or putter for most of the guys on this card.
Good shot.
Yeah, you're in bounds.
Looks like just a putter for Clint. Lands pretty soft. Let's see, 1. Oh, John's going to play sidearm.
Yeah.
If you want to see a great breakdown of how pro plays 18, there's some content that Shelly May posted on Instagram a couple of days ago before the tournament, breaking down how she approaches this hole and playing the hole with discs of different speeds and talking about the ground reaction. Really just great in-depth content. Recommend you all check that out. Give her a follow if you don't already.
She's an amazing player.
Now we're just looking for exclamation points on some really good rounds.
And the reigning champ finishes with a bird.
I feel like I've been following for so long and never gotten to play.
All right, so as we look ahead to Saturday's round 2, Gavin Boss is going to be our leader at -10, and Pinegar right behind at -9. Come back and check it out, round 2 on Disconnected.